redhead, best bed, tear shed, creepy biscuit. This game smells, miss smells, knock me on my knees. It didn't hurt, flirt, blood, squirt, stuff, checking me on the street. I feel like count down 3 rounds and hell, I'll be in good company.
Hi, welcome back to Beer at the Barbers. If anyone hasn't seen this before, it's something that we did for a while during lockdown, and we tried to revive it last month. Just because we obviously had the crash at the shop, which most of you will know about, and it's just a way for us to, stay in touch with people, really, because we don't have a high street presence at the moment, and we're kind of tucked away on the arse end of an industrial estate. So, it's just a way for us to keep in touch with you guys, really. So if you can see this, say hi, and, hopefully we'll get a few more people coming on as it progresses. Tonight we've got Russ from Amity Brew Co. They're based down in Farsley, and I'm sure they've suffered as much as everyone else during lockdown. And we've also got Andrew Dalton, Stats, or LUFC Stats, as a lot of you may know him from Twitter. He'll be coming on later on as well. So, give us a thumbs up or say hi if you can see us, just so that we know that we're not just talking to ourselves. Okay, so just bear with me. I'm not the most articulate person. I'm not a natural presenter, and things don't flow freely for me. So what I've done is I've made some notes, so I just don't go off piece and start talking a load of rubbish. Well, I will talk rubbish anyway, but at least I'll have some kind of structure. Okay, so that's the first little bit covered, actually, without me even referring to notes. Previous guests have been Premier Hop, who have supplied tonight's beer. Now, don't worry, Russ, it's Amity beer. Okay. I Googled Amity. I was going to go, let me just backtrack a little bit. I went on Thursday to the Oktoberfest, and I thought, right, next time I'm coming down on Saturday and I'll pick some up for Beer at the Barbers. And I never got down there because I had too many to drink at the match. And I really wouldn't have been in a good state if I went out for more beers after that. So apologies, Russ, I didn't come back. But I am drinking Amity beer, and we'll ask you about the beers that I'm drinking and other beers that you're doing later on. Tonight, first of all, I'm kicking off with Festoon. Ooh, can I rotate it the right way? Very, very nice. I had that at the Oktoberfest, and it's very good for washing down sausages. No pun intended. So Premier Hop, they've been a previous guest, and they're a great place to get your beers from if you like your craft beers, etc. They've got hundreds, if not thousands. We've also had Quirky from the Cardinals on. We've had Mookie and the Bab, a band from Bradford. We've had Apollo Junction, Skylights, Jamie T, a local personal trainer. We've had Trish Smith, and we've had a few others. So we've been really fortunate that people have kind of like joined in with us and helped us to kind of get this going. Anyway, thank you for coming on in advance, Russ from Amity Brew Co. and Andrew Dalton or Stats later on. So where am I? Because obviously I'm not actually in a barber shop. I'm sat in an office block on Grangefield Industrial Estate, which is a bit of an unusual place to sort of be cutting hair, but circumstances have forced us to be here, so I'm just going to show you around. We've had it fitted out as a barber shop. Okay, there's a beer fridge. There's a chair behind me. Obviously, I'm sat in a barber's chair, and if I can get the camera angle right, there's another chair there. Okay, it's not perfect. We've got a little hand basin instead of like a hair washing sink. But yeah, we're in quite a tight space, and once there's 3 of us cutting in here, and we've got clients in as well, it does get quite cramped. Okay, and there's 4 of us now, so we're having to rotate between us who's working. Not perfect, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? Okay, if you want to find us, type in Madison, Madison offices, and that's LS28 6LE. Okay, some people have still been going down to our old location, which still looks like a demolition site, and unfortunately we're not going to be there till at least the end of January. Timelines keep slipping, obviously because of the availability of builders and materials, etc. And it wouldn't surprise me if we're not in there till Easter. Okay, but please bear with us. Please keep on coming. We're so grateful for all your custom. That's covered all my introductory notes, really. So let's move on to Russ, who's been patiently waiting in the background. He was struggling with his sound earlier on. Let's see how we're doing. Good evening, Russ.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Magical.
Awesome.
There we go. Yeah.
Technology. You wouldn't believe how many times it's embarrassed me when I've been doing this during lockdown, and I've been getting frustrated. And I might have started off with 15 people watching and just gradually watched the numbers drop down into the single figures. So yeah, at least we've jumped over that hurdle. So do you want to tell us about the first beer of the night anyway, Festoon?
Yeah, so Festoon's actually, it's one of our core range. So we try and make sure that it's available all the time. And it's a lager. It's a Hell's lager style. So it's authentic German lager. But you will find Hell's to be traditionally just a little bit sweeter, a little bit more breadier with its malt character. But it's very authentically German hopped, so it's still very nice and just a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of balance there to it. And yeah, 4.6%, so nothing too crazy, certainly compared to some of the beers that we do. And yeah, it's basically our best-selling beer at the tap room because it's lager, and that's kind of the thing.
Some of the other ones would be perfectly good for if you wanted to go and drive into a barber shop after a few cans.
Yeah, not ideal. I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think that I can have a few at a time, but I'm not very good at it really, as my wife keeps reminding me. So anyway, do you want to tell us about Amity, what your background is, how you came to be in Farsley, and the timing of it, because it was round about the same time as the start of lockdown, wasn't it?
Yeah, so my background, I've been in the beer industry for the past sort of 7-8 years, various jobs. I've worked for Brewdog, I've worked for Beer Hawk, and then previous to setting up Amity, I was at North Brewco, so another small independent Leeds brewery. And essentially it's always been that little itch that I wanted to scratch setting up for myself, and I've met some great people along the way. So my business partner like Rich, my wife Verity, and our designer Tom, and then our brewer Greg, who I met at Brewdog. He was the lead brewer at Buxton Brewery as well, so he's got a lot of experience, good pedigree, and it's a real nice sort of family kind of team that we've brought together. But we launched last year, literally on the 1st of July, whilst lockdown was happening. And we brought forward our launch a few months because everyone was buying beer online, and we thought, what was a better way to start getting ourselves out there? So we were brewing with various people all over north of England, and we just launched our online shop. We sold out the first few batches within 24 hours, and it gave us a little bit more cash, a little bit more sort of confidence to start doing a bit more volume. And then it's all led up to us getting our own site, which is a brew pub in, as you say, in Farsley, and it's situated at Sunnybank Mills, which is, centuries old. Used to be a sort of old woolen dyeing mill and wool producing mill, and it's just this beautiful sandstone set of buildings. And we now brew on site, and it's a bar, it's a pub as well. So every weekend, Thursday to Sunday, we're open, serving our beers and some guest beers from loads of different people from all over the place.
Yeah, I've got to admit, it's a lovely place.
Thank you.
I came to drink in the bar for the first time at Oktoberfest, actually, since lockdown. So I was familiar with the wrong end of the building. So I went to the back of the building where I used to do my collections from during lockdown. I was like, oh, where is it?
That's it,
I walked around the building, found the correct entrance.
Yeah.
And it is a really, really nice place, really nice environment that you've got going there.
Thank you.
Nice vibe as well.
Yeah, it's taken a while to get there, but we did. So
are the pretzels always on? They were really nice.
They're not. No, they were actually they were made specially for us for the weekend. For and again, another little amazing independent business around the corner is Mill Kitchen. Yeah. So they're a bakery and like a coffee brunch place as well. And the guys there, Ben, who's one of their bakers. He thought he'd give pretzels a go for us for the weekend. So it was awesome. Yeah,
it was really good. And also a little shout out to Farsley Fire and Smoke, who provided the sausages.
Absolutely, yeah. Can't beat a sausage fest. Yeah, so we actually did a beer with Farsley Fire and Smoke to celebrate Oktoberfest, and also there's a restaurant just up in Horsforth called the Little Monk, and it's like a Belgian-German bar restaurant. So we collaborated together to do a smoked lager, which obviously fits in with Farsley Fire and Smoke's kind of Texas barbecue stuff, but it's also like a really traditional German style called a Rausch beer. Literally translates as smoked beer. But it's absolutely just super delicious, like smoky bacon crisps in beer form. It's gone down a storm at the weekend. People ordering like big 2-pint steins of it, which was great. So
I mean, I love all the different flavors going on, and I could just sit there for a whole night having a different beer each round, and I'm like a kid in a sweet shop, honestly.
Yeah.
Rohit from Premier Hop will tell you, because when they used to have the Premier store in Farsley, I used to go in and it was like a combination between like pick and mix and supermarket sweep. I'd just go in and buy about 8 different cans and just get what I'd picked blindly. Yeah. And I'd always sit there and say, right, I'll have 4 tonight and 4 tomorrow night, and you could almost guarantee I'd have 8 in the first night. And that wasn't always the best idea. So anyway, my wife's just commented. She says we need a night out in Horse after sober October.
Oh no, the worst month of the year.
I know. I don't know. Dry January must be worse.
Yeah, it's always a slow one. But I think the great thing about the sort of areas of Leeds that we're all based in is that they generally have like this amazing independent community. They love their own. They want to support each other. We found that, in January, February this year, when we were slinging cans in the sort of 6-inch deep snow out the back of the breweries, like people were coming every single week to support us. That's super important. So.
Yeah, I think you're a fabulous asset for like the LS28 and 13 areas.
For sure.
It's really, really good to have you there, and we need more sort of businesses like this, more independent businesses. It was remiss of me to say actually at the start of this, we're doing a prize for the people who ask the best questions. Okay, so the prize is you got a Ruzel pint glass. Ruzel is a brand of hair product from Holland. They're based in Rotterdam. They've got like probably the most famous barbershop in the world. They're the coolest guys ever. They're called Scoren, which means scumbags, and the brand Ruzel means lard. So we're going to do the pint glass and a travel bag. If I can get it in the right place for the camera. That's got some shampoo and hair products in there. And you never know, we might chuck other goodies in as well, depending on how good the question is. Okay, so we'll do that one at the end of the evening. But yeah, a Ruzel pint glass, perfect for putting your Amity beer into. So I've asked you a lot of these questions, and some of them you've answered anyway. How do you see Amity evolving over the next 1 to 5 years?
We've got incredibly, we're already at capacity at the brewery in a mere sort of 6 months since opening. So the biggest challenge for us right now is actually keeping up with demand. So we are already going back to contract brewing with some other friends in the industry. So they're brewing batches of our beer for us, so that we can start to reach a bit of a wider audience, get our beer out there into distribution, and put our beer on other bars other than just our own. The odd kegs sort of slipped away to certain sort of friends bars and things like that, but we'd really like to actually get our name out there a little bit more now. So one of the biggest things that I'm working on right now is how to expand slightly, get another couple of tanks perhaps, and bring canning in-house as well, so that we can be in complete control of that. And then sort of look to the future. Who knows? It's exciting. The beer scene's never been more vibrant for this kind of thing. You've got breweries like Northern Monk as well, and they've just grown crazy quick over the past 5-6 years. So it's an exciting time to do stuff.
Cool. Just want to say hi to Nathan. He's just posted a message saying hi, mate. I haven't seen Nathan for a long time. He moved away from the area, but obviously still follows us. How about other collaborations? Because you've done one with Beavertown, haven't you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
it's again just one of those things. Having worked in the industry for a few years, you meet people at beer festivals, and you have fun times. But actually used to work alongside a couple of the people that are now at Beavertown, and our brewer Greg also knows some of their brew team. So I think it was their 9th birthday this year, 8th or 9th birthday. And what they do every year is they collaborate with as many breweries or businesses that they are years old. They asked us to be part of it this year. So we went down so it's myself, Rich and Greg. We went down and we brewed an American style wheat beer, which again kind of works for us because it's quite a classic style, where you've got some of the traditional side of things where it's nice and hazy and kind of a little bit of banana and clove from the wheat beer side of things. But because it's American style wheat beer, it's usually a bit more modern, so it's a little bit more lemony perhaps, and just much more drinkable without being too heavy. So if anyone's had beers like Erdinger, for example, they can be a bit loopy juice after a couple of pints. So American wheat beers tend to be just a little bit lower than that, and a bit less crazy to get through.
I'm a big fan of the German ones because I used to be in the army in Germany. We used to go skiing, and we would more often than not be in a fit state before skiing. We've had some wobbly moments going up in cable cars because of German wheat beer. Beers that we've got coming up. We're actually doing beers with local breweries coming up soon. We've got a brew coming up very soon with Tartarus, if you've heard of those guys. They're based in Horsforth, and is a guy called Jack with his business partner as well, and they're pretty well known for doing absolutely silly alcohol content stouts. So we're talking sort of 10+% beers. So we're going to be doing an imperial stout with them on our kit.
We're sort of aiming for 11-12% chocolate and vanilla stout, which is going to be pretty fun to brew. And then towards the end of October, we're looking at doing a table beer. So right on the other end of the spectrum, it's going to be like a 2.8%, 3% beer. And we're going to be working with Horsforth. We're going to be working with Nomadic, who are based a little bit more city central, and Anthology as well, who are kind of just south of the city centre as well. So, and again, it's just all good people, good friends that we've made over the years, and yeah, it's just good to kind of work together and do fun things.
Yeah, Mark at Horsforth did one for us actually. We called it the Barbers Brew. It was a pale ale. I think it was 4%.
Nice, very good.
Quite good, quite enjoyable getting involved in the brewing process. And I spent the day there helping him to put it together. I think I was more of a help than a hindrance. But I was having to be told what to do and stuff, and I just obviously mucked in with the cleaning out as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's all part and parcel, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And as long as there's a photo taken when you're doing it, because yeah, that's it. It's not truly a collaboration until you've got a photo of somebody mashing out. That's the rule. The rest of the day you can just be like sitting about drinking, but as long as you get the photo mashing out, that's the main thing. So
yeah. My wife's put a comment just saying yum, and I'm thinking that's probably in reference to the different flavoured stouts, because I always get her to try all the different craft beers, and you can always guarantee she'll be holding her nose and going, I don't want to smell it, and she'll have a taste and she'll go, ugh. But she seems to like the stouts. Chocolate, coffee, vanilla, marshmallow, whatever. She does actually seem to like them. Mark Howgate says Cheer Ale is very nice of you. I don't know Cheer Ale, do you?
Don't know it myself. No.
Well, maybe one to look out for. And yeah, you mentioned Anthology. They're near the Harley Davidson garage, aren't they, in town?
They are, yeah. Little guy, little brewery setup. A guy called Liam. And yeah, again, similar to us in that he looks at like modern interpretations of fairly classic styles, which is great. And yeah, again, great guys that we're really excited to do some stuff with. Further afield as well, there's a brewery based up in Aberdeen called Fierce. We stock some of their stuff. I've known the guys for a few years, and hopefully in the new year we're going to be going up to brew with them, and they'll be coming down to do the return journey as well, which is exciting. So
it's exciting times. That's exactly what I was going to say. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's always good, and I think now that restrictions are kind of coming to an end for the moment, who knows what happens in the future, but I think it's just great to be able to start traveling a little bit and starting to see everybody again, which is cool.
Mark didn't mean Cheer Ale, apparently. It meant cherry.
Just cherry, there we go. Yeah, cherry ale. Yeah. We've got
my problem, fat fingers.
Now we've got we're starting to get a few guest beers on in the brewery as well. So in probably next week, I think we're getting in Belgian ale. Most people will recognize the little pink elephant, which is a delirium. And they do really kind of crazy Belgian ales. It's like 7-8%, but we'll be getting the cherry version of their Belgian ale coming in, and that's going to be on draft as well next week, which is really fun. So
cool. Do you have just finally before we wrap up? Do you have any other events lined up between now and Christmas?
Yeah, we're actually going to start talking about it next week, but we've got a few key bits. One, the major stuff is obviously things like Halloween. So we'll be doing some form of Halloween weekend at the end of October. we're definitely looking to do a big Christmas kind of quiz and things around Christmas and New Year. But we're actually going to start doing weekly events on Thursdays, which is going to be something that we're going to start doing. So we're going to do like smaller things like board game evenings and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also going to be getting people like Hemmer and Rohit, hopefully from Premier Hop, to come down to do like bottle tastings and things like that. So you don't have to purchase the full crazy 750ml bottle. You can just have a little taster out of them. And yeah, sort of a monthly quiz we're hoping to do, which is fun. And then brewery tours as well. It's probably one of the things that we're asked for the most, even though you could do a tour just by sort of looking in a certain direction in our brew house because it's so small. But no, it'll be really fun, sort of doing brewery process and tasting and all that kind of fun stuff as well. So yeah, that's one of the things that we're looking to do. And then probably New Year's is going to be the next big thing that we'll be looking at as well. So.
Right. Thursday nights works for me at the moment because I'm not doing Fridays. I don't have to worry about cutting anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been an ace speaking to you, and the time's flown by. Hopefully I'll get to catch up with you over a pint at some point.
Sure.
In the brewery.
That'd
Okay.
be great.
Thank you very much for coming on, everybody. If you want to follow Amity Brew Co, it's on the screen there for you. Are you just on Instagram, or are you on other platforms as well?
Yeah, on every social channel we're Amity Brew Co. So whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, that's where you'll find us. So yeah, we have our online shop as well, so you can order from there, and you can come click and collect as well. Have a pint when you pick up your cans or something. So.
Cool. Okay, just one last thing before we switch to stats. I haven't poured it yet because I haven't finished my other beer. But do you want to just talk us through the breakfast?
Oh, breakfast, yeah. So
we should be drinking at breakfast time, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So it's a weird one. This we call it an Oat Cream IPA. So we homemade brewery made our own oat cream in order to make this beer. So we literally steeped 5 kilos of oats in water overnight, and then used the trusty NutriBullet to absolutely blitz them and turn them into this really thick, gloopy oat cream. And then when we were brewing with that, we introduce it, and what it does is it gives the beer this insanely thick mouthfeel when you're drinking it. But we hopped it as a specific type of hop that we use called Mosaic. It's a US hop, and it's pretty fruity, pretty tropical. So it gives the whole beer this kind of grapefruit juice kind of vibe. So what else could you call it but breakfast, essentially? So it was
to be honest.
Yeah. It's certainly one of my favorites. We've got a few cans left, but I think we're actually on the very last keg of it now at the brewery. So it's not going to stick around for long.
Cool. I'm glad I managed to get one then. I thought I'd throw it in just before I let you go because, just because it's there and we can. Okay, well, thanks very much for coming on to talk to us.
Thank you. Cheers.
For making it easy for me by not drying it.
Not at all. Thanks for asking us on.
No problem. Thanks very much. Cheers. Catch you later.
Guys.
Bye. So that was Russ from Amity. Let's move swiftly on now to stats. Stats, Andrew Dalton. He's just become very well known over recent years for providing all sorts of statistical data on Leeds United, and he absolutely blows me away when I listened to him the other day, and I thought, how does he just pull this out of the air? And I'm sure he's always correct as well. I'm not going to test him. Let's bring him on. Stats, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Very, very kind and very kind words there, Philip. Really appreciate you having me on this evening.
No, not at all. What I don't intend to do is test you.
Everyone else does. Yeah.
But I wouldn't have enough time to check your answers anyway. You just pull them out of the air like that. And I'm like,
I don't know.
So I just thought, what can I ask Stats? And I thought, let's just help everybody get to know who you are, because a lot of people are familiar with the name.
Yeah.
Myself included, until I saw you last week with Aaron.
Yes.
I wasn't even familiar with what he looks like, sounded like, or anything. I just knew that he banged out stats all the time.
Yes. Yes.
And he'd had a book. So if I could just give people a bit of background on this. I was watching the Liverpool match with a few beers not so long back, and I thought, I've got to think of who I can have on at Beer at the Barbers. Somebody, a bit different. I don't want it to turn into yet another Leeds United podcast, because as good as the others are, I don't want to be competing with them. But it is nice to have a Leeds United twist. As a lot of our clients are Leeds fans, and I'm sure they'll be interested. So I was sat there after a few beers, and I tweeted you and I said, "How about coming on Beer at the Barbers?"
You did. You did.
Totally forgot until the next day you replied and said, "Yeah, why not?"
Yeah, absolutely.
I said to my son, "Look at this." He's agreed.
As you do.
Yeah. So the following week, I just said to Aaron, who's, if anyone doesn't know, Aaron is from the LS11 podcast. I also cut his hair, so I know him personally.
You do.
And he's done this Beer at the Barbers with me before, so I said, "Aaron, can you just, because the Wi-Fi in here is really crap. It's only about 2-3 meg." And I said, "Can we just try it from the barbershop, you at home, and just make sure that it's a good enough signal? Otherwise, I'm going to have to do it from home."
Yes.
And he said, "Oh yeah, of course I can. I've just finished speaking to Stats." And I was like, well, funnily enough,
there you go, then.
So small world.
Absolutely.
So now that we've introduced you, let's find out a little bit about you. So do you want to tell us a bit about where you're originally from?
Yes.
How you came to be following Leeds United? Because I'm suspecting you don't actually have a Leeds accent as such.
Born and bred in Leeds, actually. Leeds. Although people say I don't have an accent, but
when I listen to you, I think you sound more sort of East Midlands.
Oh, God, thanks. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I went to school in North Leeds, grew up in North Leeds, and my sort of Leeds United started with my mum, because her uncle, Sidney Simon, was actually on the board in the 60s in the great Revy era. And my mum went to the European Cup final in 1975, obviously when they got cheated out against Bayern Munich, where Beckenbauer kind of refereed the game. And I was born in 85 and went to my first match in 91, April the 13th, 91, when we lost 5-4 to Liverpool. Don't remember too much about it, but just remember coming out of the game, I think, as a 6-year-old, just sort of being encapsulated by everything. And it kind of went from there. And I seem to recall, Philip, that one of my friends' dads used to come round and just sort of test me on results, even at 7-8 years old. And it just kind of went from there. I appeared on the Alvin Blossom show on Radio Leeds in 1993 through a guy called Seth Pod, who was part of the then Leeds United in the Community, which is now the Leeds United Foundation. I used to go on these football courses during sort of half term and Christmas and what have you. And he got me on because he was impressed with my knowledge back then, basically. And it kind of just grew from there. And then I kind of got more into the broadcasting side, even at 10, 11, 12. I got invited to something called the Each Way Bet, which was a guy called John Boyd, who I've found him on Facebook. Boyd, of course, is famous for the get yourself a goal. Gary Speed, the late Gary Speed, with the commentary against Sheffield United in April 1990, and I became quite friendly with John over there. I then kind of did a media course at college, at Leeds College of Technology in the city centre. Went from there to do a university degree in sports journalism at Preston, and kind of got lucky with kind of the stuff that I've done. I do a little bit for Leeds United. I report on all the women's games, which I absolutely love doing. I've written 4 books on the club, which is brilliant. I can just look back and thinking, yeah, that's my books. And I kind of set up Twitter nearly 10 years ago, I think over 10 years ago now, and just as a bit of fun, because I thought back then it was the kind of thing to do and what have you. And it's probably changed the way football is reported on and perceived because of the introduction of social media. And I never imagined that I'd get what, 20,000 followers. Look, I know there's a guy called Chris Taylor who is LFC Data, who is absolutely brilliant, and he's got 50,000 followers, and quite rightly so, because some of the stuff he tweets are brilliant. But yeah, I'm proud of sort of how far I've come, certainly in life as well as in social media. I still get asked questions this evening. I put a tweet up this morning that on this day in 1997, it feels like 24 years ago, the Leeds beat Man United 1-0. David Ruddoll scored the winning goal, and someone tweeted me, was that the last time we played Man United at 3 o'clock on a Saturday? And like that, yes, it was. So I've got this photographic memory, Phil, where I can just memorize games, dates, scores. It's weird how you just asked and you put on the spot. I get asked questions by Graham Smith off the YP. He texts me questions as well, and Joe and Lee as well. So it's great. It's great fun. It's a bit of fun, and I love it. I'm very lucky to kind of be employed by Leeds United to do what I do with the women's game. I absolutely love doing that as well. I was very privileged to do that, and yeah, it just kind of grown from there, really.
Excellent. I mean, I think you covered about 10 of my 11 questions there.
Sorry, I do tend to do that.
No, that's amazing. Do you know what my son will say to us? Dad, do you remember like in 2006 when we beat this team 4-2? Yeah. Like, no, mate, I don't remember last week's game. I think the beer might have something to do with it, but you don't drink, do you? So
no, I don't. I think it's also I'm autistic as well, and one of the autistic tendencies is to have a photographic memory. Yeah. And I can remember games going back from the start of 1990-91 season. We played Everton on August the 25th, 1990, to obviously the present day. Tried to forget the first few games of this season. That's another matter entirely. But yeah, it's just remembering games, goals, scorers, and it's weird how the memory can just remember things like that, basically.
Cool. Jimmy's asking if I've had a few beers. No, Jimmy, I'm still on my first one.
Good lad. Good lad.
I don't know how to get these comments to appear on the bottom of the screen, unfortunately. I need to practice more, don't I?
Yes. I'm no good with StreamYard, so you're probably asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying at the start, I'm not the most articulate person. I'm not the most natural presenter. I just started doing this during lockdown to keep in touch with our clients.
Yeah.
And more recently, a car's crashed into our normal shop premises.
Oh, God.
And some people haven't come back, and I don't even think they know we're still in business.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's on social media, are they?
No, of course. And it's a great way to keep in contact with people.
Yeah. So, I thought just a bit of fun over a couple of beers. Or a cup of tea.
A cup of tea or a cup of Coca-Cola in my case.
So that's why we do this, and it's been quite good fun, to be honest.
Absolutely.
So, you've answered that, and you've answered that. Do you ever forget stuff? Like do you ever think, oh shit, I didn't send my auntie a birthday card or something like that?
Do you know what? I'm absolutely hopeless with sometimes with birthdays. My girlfriend Emma is absolutely brilliant. She's got them all written down, and kids' birthdays I tend to forget, and parents' birthdays I remember, and family birthdays. But I do tend to forget the odd one or two. I remember the important ones, I think, but it's a selective memory, because the daft thing is at school, I'll openly admit I wasn't the most academic at school, and I did find it tough at school sometimes. But I've gone obviously down a different route, remembering football stuff, and I can do a bit with the Rhinos as well, remember games and what have you. So yeah, it's weird, but it's a great little skill to have, and it's enabled me to open some doors in life and have different opportunities.
Yeah. So what is your actual day job now? Is that like full-time Leeds United, or
no? I actually work at stockbrokers in the city centre, a place called Redmayne Bentley, doing operations administration. I've been there since December. I absolutely love it. I got made permanent employee at the start of this month, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I deal with sort of different clients, different stockbrokers, different registrars, and it's playing around with facts and figures and a bit of numbers as well, and inputting data and what have you. And yeah, I absolutely love it, really, Phil. And I have that, and then I have obviously the other job with Leeds United.
Okay, Mark Howgate's asked, what's the best game you've been to, and who scored the goals?
Oh, yeah, I do get asked that quite a bit. The best game from a Leeds perspective happened on April the 4th, 2001, European Champions League quarter-final, Deportivo La Coruña in the quarter-final. And I remember, I think one of their players made the comment, Leeds are the weakest team left in the competition, and we absolutely destroyed them at Ellen Road. Ian Hart scored an absolute whiz of a free kick, probably the best free kick he's ever scored for Leeds. Alan Smith headed in number 2 just after half time, and Rio Ferdinand got the third just after the hour mark. And you sat there, and I think I must be 15, 16 years old, sat there thinking, can this get any better? That you're 3-0 up in a quarter-final of the European Cup, Champions League as it is. 3-0 up. Obviously, they got through the second against Deportivo and Galicia 13 days later, which was a nervy 2-0 loss. And unfortunately, ever since that day, it's never got those heights. I always look back on a particular game, Phil, against Man United that season. We played them at Ellen Road. We drew 1-1. Fabian Barthez probably should have been sent off for kicking out Ian Hart. Wes Brown scored an own goal that got disallowed. It would probably been allowed now with VAR. And those 2 points probably cost Leeds a place in the Champions League. But it's all water under the bridge. And I do wonder how things might have turned out. Might not have the goldfish with Peter Isdale, might not Sam Seth Johnson. But yeah, the Deportivo one is the one for me that really stands out. To be in a quarter-final of the Champions League, to be 3 up in a quarter-final is absolutely unbelievable.
It's amazing how you just reel all that off. And
yeah,
if somebody asked me, I'd be good. Let me think now. I think it was this year, and I think I saw it in the pub.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So it is fascinating, to be honest.
It's weird how I can just
an amazing gift.
Things like that just very quickly and what have you, and it's a strange sort of thing but it's a photographic memory as well, and it's a nice little thing to have, because it's opened a few avenues with my books.
Yeah, of course. At least you're putting it to good use.
Yeah, very much so.
Not just saving it for like party tricks or something like that.
Absolutely, and it's great because I'm lucky that I've got people that are aware in aspects like with Leeds United. I've made a lot of friends through the club, through the media side, who have been absolutely phenomenal with me. And obviously, for so many people are interested in what I tweet and what I come up with, and what have I. Speak to Bryn Law quite a bit as well with different stats pre-games, and come up with different various things that we come up with. So yeah, it's a nice little niche to have, and hopefully one day I can hopefully work full time, and that would be the ultimate ambition. That, not saying I'm not loving my job at the moment, because I am doing, but if something like statistical based was offered, who knows where that might take me.
Okay, my first game at Leeds, and I genuinely, I think it was 1-1.
Yes.
I can't remember for sure. It was in the old playoffs against Charlton at Elland Road.
That would have been May. It was 1-0 Leeds. Now, there's always a question mark who actually gets the goal, because Brendan Ormsby actually taps the ball in from a yard out. I think it's Keith Evans that poked it ball towards the goal, and Brendan Ormsby smashed it in. I think it was being made the 21st, 1987 or something on those lines. And obviously, unfortunately for Leeds, the third game after Leeds lost the first game at Selhurst Park, so obviously Charlton were playing there then rather than the Valley back then, and it went to a third game at St Andrews, and despite taking a lead through a brilliant John Sheridan free kick in the first half of extra time, a player called Peter Shirtliff, I think his only 2 other goals for Charlton that day, denied Billy Bremner side of place in the first division. And it's interesting, Phil, that season, obviously, they made the semis of the FA Cup, got beat in extra time to Coventry City, and then made the playoff final and got beat by Charlton. And you always wonder, you look at little aspects of football and little quirks and what have you, and you think back then, who knows, had Billy Bremner's side got to the FA Cup final, had they got to the first division, would we have ever seen the appearance of, or the emergence of Howard Wilkinson at Ellen Road, had that been the case? But it wasn't to be. And then 2 and a bit years, or a season a bit later, say, Billy was sacked and replaced by Sergeant Wilker, who really did bring the glory days back to Ellen Road.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fascinating time for me, because, I mean, I was born in Plymouth and we moved to Leeds when I was 12 in '94. And I was resistant to being cajoled by my mates into supporting Leeds, and then once I got the bug, and I was like, yeah, I love this, and I've been supporting them ever since. But that was the first game I ever got taken to with my schoolmates. What else did we have for you? Have you ever been caught out with a question? Have you ever had a false recollection and somebody?
Yeah, it can happen. It can happen. It's easily done. When you're trying to recollect probably over 2,000 games in your head, it can be quite easily done. I've had to, and I'll openly be honest with it. I think we've all had to. We've put things on social media that you think that's right, and you find out it's not right, which I've learned from, and I've double checked things in my head and make sure things are. So it's easy to do, especially with games, goals, scorers, etc., etc. It's quite easy to do, to be honest. But the odd one or two has slipped through the net. But especially when I'm writing books on Leeds United, I'm making sure it's all proofread basically. And there's a guy called Mark Bracher who runs the Sheridan Dictates website. If you try and get online, that unbelievable website with fantastic statistical knowledge, and he's brilliant, as is Chris Taylor with LUFC data as well. So we kind of help each other, and we check each other and what have you. But yeah, Mark's is absolutely top notch, really. But yeah, it does happen. It happens to the best of us sometimes that we can get caught out. It's one of them things, really. But I try not to. I try to remember things and try and get things out of there as best possibly can. And
Yeah, of course.
I'll look ahead to the Watford game on Saturday. Like I could tell you now, last time we played Watford in the top flight was May the 3rd, 2000. We won 3-1. Bridges, Dewberry, Huckabee were the goal scorers. I was in the top flight. The last time we played Watford at Ellen Road, we lost 3-2. Rudy Austin's got an absolute beauty from the corner of the penalty area. So, yeah, we haven't got a great record against Watford at Ellen Road. Last victory was on Valentine's Day, 2006, when Robbie Blake got a brace. And I want to say Ben Foster was... I think Ben Foster and Darius Henderson were sent off. So, yeah. But I'll come up with different things, Phil, because what I do is I look at the opposition. I try and get something that's related to the opposition. Like when I do the pods, that I come up with different sort of quirks and what have you. Like I came up one Saturday that Mateus Clickers moved level with Chris White, 147 appearances for the club. So little things like that. Coops is, I think, 18 games away from captaining the side in 200 games, which is a hell of an achievement. And like, there's a couple to watch out for over Christmas and New Year. The game at West Ham in early January, I think it is, and January the 11th will be our 4,000th league game. The game at Ellen Road against Burnley on New Year's Day 2022 will be our 2000th home league game. So I like looking at little quirks and facts and what have you, and going from there. So it's interesting how the mind works. Even when international breaks come up, I look ahead to the next fixture. I've got obviously Southampton. I look at things for Southampton and sort of connections and what have you. So it's a bit of fun, but it's enjoyable fun as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the last time I saw Leeds against Watford was at the Millennium Stadium. But,
that was horrible day, and I think you could tell that day. I remember, I think Liam Miller, God rest his soul, jumped out of his skin when the fireworks went off, when the players emerged from the tunnel, and geez, yeah. Well, we'll leave that one for another day.
Never got started, did we?
Yeah, horrible day all around.
Cool. I didn't really have any other questions for you. You make it so easy. You made it so easy for Aaron last week, and you've made it easy for me this week.
I'll try.
Yeah, it's amazing. But I think it's probably nice just to ask different questions and get maybe that insight into who you are.
Yeah,
rather than just putting you to the test all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on.
Just one last question.
Yes.
I've resisted the temptation to test you so far. I've got to ask one testing question. How did we fare the last time we started the season this badly?
The answer to that is we never have, because this is the worst we've ever started in our history. So it's 6 games without winning. We've never done it before. So it's completely new territory. Hopefully we'll get that win in the 7th or 10th. I do feel it's coming. I felt that there were aspects of the game against West Ham on Saturday. I thought we were unlucky at the end to lose again. We probably should have drawn the game at worst.
Yeah.
I think very fine margins at the moment. Rafinha not hit the post. Click not 5 inches wide. It's probably a different game. It's all ifs, buts at the moment, but it'll come. It'll come. I think Watford, Southampton, Wolves, Norwich gives Leeds an opportunity now for the next 3-4 games to put some points on the board and move away from the bottom 3, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're still not a bad team. It might not have clicked for us yet, but I think there's plenty of time for it to click and for us to come good. So we're certainly not in the bottom 3 teams in the division.
No, and we're 6 games in, Phil. I sometimes believe there is an overreaction.
Yeah.
Well, social media certainly doesn't help with the overreaction, but I'm quietly confident that things will pick up and pick up starting on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks very much for coming on. It's been lovely speaking to you.
And you too.
If I see you down at Ellen Road, I'll get you a pint.
Oh, lovely. I'll be there. Much appreciated.
Of milk.
A pat of milk, a pat of Coke will do nicely.
Okay, then. Cheers.
Lovely. Cheers, Bill. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was it for this evening. I did aim to keep it to roughly an hour because it has dragged on for about 2 hours before. And although it was a lot of fun and we did get through some beer, I think people can sort of lose that. People's attention span can sort of dwindle. We haven't had many questions on at all tonight. If anyone's got any more questions, there's a Ruzel travel bag going and a Ruzel pint glass. Not the one that I've used, but it's very nice all the same. That's it for this evening. Don't forget, we've also got our Google review draw going on. So at the end of each month, we're going to have a look back through our Google reviews and pick out a winner. And the winner will win a free Philip Nicholas t-shirt and a free haircut. That's all I've got for you tonight, guys. Please keep supporting us, even though we're not in our usual location. In fact, it's probably even more important now that you do support us because we're kind of out of sight, out of mind on the back end of an industrial estate, and we don't have any footfall on our doorstep, but people do keep coming back, and we still do actually manage to keep attracting some new clients. Okay, so out of the questions that have been asked so far, I think Mark Howgate's got to be the winner for our travel bag and the pint glass. So Mark, next time you're in, just remind me and we'll get them out for you. Thank you very much, everyone. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Good night.